the chess move, from Liverpool was crazy the other day. Because I mean, look, it's great. It's great. Newcastle were hating on it, but it's great. Liverpool have essentially said, which one of these two players do you want wearing red, Isak or Ekitike? Of course, Newcastle aren't going to say Ekitike. They're going to want to keep their guy, right? So you'll say, okay, well, we're going to take the striker that you want. And Newcastle are in a position that Harry Kane and Tottenham are in now. They need a backup striker, but they don't know who to bring in because none of them want to play behind. So Tottenham, for what, how many years had Harry Kane, and they didn't have very good cover. They used to just use Son because they had never had a backup player. I think Newcastle could be in that because they've either got to keep a Callum Wilson, who they said is not good enough, or they've got to try and now buy somebody who can then compete with Isak, who they can try to give a little bit of game time to. That's a very, very difficult thing to do. It's why backup goalkeeper is one of the hardest positions to buy in the league because they know they're going to sit on the bench. I think you're kind of like that with a scenario of, like, Arsenal were quite lucky because with Havertz and Jesus, you know that they're going to be competing for places that are more versatile than just playing in a number 9. But when you look at what Harry Kane was, he was definitely playing every single game. Isak is definitely playing every single game for Newcastle. How are they going to go and get a backup striker now that isn't in the form of a Dominic Calvert-Lewin type player, right? Yeah. So they've got to be realistic about who they bring in. I think Hugo Ekitike is a player that I'm going to reserve judgment on. I don't know enough about him. You clearly know more than me, Husam. He scored a lot of goals last season. I think he got 15 in the Bundesliga. So for me, when I look at what he's got, he looks very similar in terms of attributes to Isak, only from what I've seen. So he doesn't look like the kind of player that's the big man up top, that holds the ball up, that links up play, that flicks it on. He actually looks like he wants to get on the ball and take players on. And I think for me, that's always exciting attributes for a striker. I've always preferred that type of striker. Over the years, Arsenal have actually had those types of striker. There's only really been a handful where you could say perhaps they didn't, with Adebayor's, Olivier Giroud's, maybe the Kai Havertz of this world. We've normally gone for a Thierry Henry, Robin Van Persie type striker, Aubameyang, that all got on the ball and drove and shot and scored. And I think for me, that's what Ekitike will be. I don't know how clinical he is. I don't know how great he is in front of goal in terms of killer, but I'm certainly willing to see what that's about. There's a reason I want you to...
You're saying Liverpool had the chess move, not Newcastle, right? Why do you think that? Explain it to me.
So Liverpool have now... They're basically put in their... You know what I mean by a chess move, yeah? So like checkmate. Yeah. So they're now making Newcastle make a decision by saying, you either give us Isak or we're going to take the striker you want. So Liverpool have basically shafted Newcastle. And I know Newcastle fans don't like that, but you've got to hand it to Liverpool because it's clever. And I think the comments today, I know people are saying Isak's not going to go to Liverpool, and I really hope that's true because I'll absolutely cry and die inside if it happens. However, I will say this, Eddie Howe's not talking too good today about Isak. I don't know if
I saw his comments. I
think it's stupid.
Do you think Liverpool could do the madness and sign both?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you're more confident than I am. Why? Tell me.
Because I think you've got money. I looked at your money situation, right? And I looked at the scenario of the last 2 windows prior to when Chiesa come in for 10 million. You spent 300 million in those 2 seasons. That means you've got 300 million to spend in this window because you didn't do anything last window, right? If you spend that 300 million and you sell who you're going to sell, that means you've got enough to go all out for one more big player. Now, I do, granted, think it will be one of Isak or Rodrigo. I don't think you're going to go and get both of them. I think that would be an absolute madness if that was to happen. I think everyone would be stunned and shocked, even Liverpool fans themselves, right? But I think you're going to buy a left winger and a striker. And I think it is going to be, well, Newcastle fans will want it to be, Liverpool fans will want it to be Isak and Rodrigo, right? But there is a chance it could be Ekitike and Gordon. So I think Liverpool needs to be understanding of that. At the same time, I think either would be good enough. In terms of you obviously want Isak and Rodrigo, but I think if you got Gordon and Ekitike, you wouldn't be sitting there going, well, we ain't winning nothing. I think you would know.
No, I think we win the league even with Gordon and Ekitike.
I would agree. So I think for me, there's still excitement for Liverpool. I just got a feeling that this Isak stuff isn't finished. I've always had that feeling, if I'm honest with you. I think what it is for Sam, it's on the player now. It's got nothing to do with Liverpool or Newcastle now. For now, it will have potentially in the next few weeks. But right now, you don't need to do anything but just let Isak decide. And for him to say, and I think it's crazy from Eddie Howe, by the way, and I like Eddie Howe, for him to come out and say, I left Isak out for his situation at the moment, you're basically telling the world that he's unsettled. You're basically saying his head's not right. He's not ready to play with us at the moment. He's been unsettled by the movement of the Saudi links and the Liverpool links. You can't say that. You can make it up and say, oh, at the moment he's feeling something. They could still speculate, but at least you haven't threw your kind of cover by saying, yeah, this guy's head's gone. His head's turned. Because that's what you're basically saying by I have to leave him out. Because otherwise it would be, yeah, no, there's no problems. It's nothing like that. He's just got a knock. He felt something in training. He wasn't quite ready, so I didn't want to risk him because he's a massively important player for us. That's what you say. None of this like, oh, yeah, well, we think he might, be a little bit unsettled by this. Because that's what he's saying, in other words. We're not stupid. So I think he's looked at the Liverpool situation and I think he's thought, I fancy it, man. You're striking while the iron's hot. He's not going to get a chance next season to potentially play with both Salah and Van Dijk at their top level. He's got an opportunity to go and play with Wirtz. He's looking at your signings of Kirkes and Frimpong. Why would he not be for this? And I understand Newcastle fans cry about it and get excited. I'll get very hyperventilate, as I call them. They're all hyperventilating in the chat about Isak. I mean, they do it in my chat as well. They did it for a whole season with me when Arsenal were linked with him, by the way. And I like Newcastle. I do. I really like their club. But some of their fans have been unbelievable in the last couple of weeks. I've actually had to block a whole load of them from my stream because they're coming in and just giving a load of hate to me and Errol and yourself and other Liverpool fans. And I'm like, hang on a minute. We're just appreciating your striker, bro. That's all we're doing. We think you've got a
just
good
reporting the news. Like
we're reporting what's happening. There's information that Isak might be on the move. I'm talking about it. Do you not think I had this with Van Persie and Fabregas and Alexis and Ozil every single season?
Coutinho,
Suarez, Gerrard, McManaman. We can go back with Liverpool fans. They don't get this Newcastle without being rude because they've not been up this level. So now they have players that Tonali, Bruno, Isak, people want. They're getting really, really sensitive about it because nobody ever wanted their players previously. Nobody was ever linked without being rude to the likes of Sean Longstaff. Nobody was ever like crying and please, please, I really want Shola Amiobi. Nobody did. Yeah, they all just left them because they left them to play for Newcastle. So now that all of a sudden we all want them, they're not used to this. So they're getting really kind of passive aggressive in my chat. And I just don't understand it, man. I'm honestly thinking like, what is happening with these Newcastle fans? And I give them a lot of respect, bro. Over the last 2 years,
Shola Amiobi. Hey, big up Dan, man. Big up.
Well, big up to Shola Amiobi, but nobody wanted that, brother. Do you know what I'm saying? So now we're looking at Alexander Isak and everybody's going, oh, he's an interesting player. But because we're doing that, now all of a sudden we're the ones that are an absolute disgrace. I don't really get it from these fans. And I like Newcastle. I've given them a lot of respect. I've told them that I want them to do well. I think they're a club that deserve some success, and I was happy they won the League Cup. I really genuinely was. I know that you weren't because, Liverpool lost that final. However, I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I respect the fact the fans have been through crap with Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce. They've got a brilliant city, unbelievable fan base, superb stadium. Let's see them do well. But when I'm looking at this thinking, why are they giving it to Arsenal and Liverpool fans? Because we appreciate their striker that we're linked with over the last couple of years. They literally cannot stand it. This is the equivalent
of... And the thing is, Dan, this is an educational moment as well to everyone in the chat. Look, if me and Dan Potts, and he'll tell you this right now, if me and Dan Potts were to only wait for Here We Goes to do a video, we'd have done I would have done 4 videos on my channel, he'd have done 3 videos on his. We're here to talk to you guys during the summer about the news, what could happen, hypotheticals. Sometimes, by the way, for the first, 2 weeks of the transfer window, we were talking about Rodrigo to Arsenal. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's Rodrigo to Liverpool. We can only speak about news and what's going to happen. When Ornstein comes out and says Isak to Liverpool, what's myself and Dan supposed to say? Nothing about it. Just sit back and go like, this might happen. Maybe it will happen. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. Bye. That's not how content works. You have to speak. You have to address things. You have to give your opinions. Hey, Husam, what do you think if you sign Isak? Hey, Dan Potts, what do you think if Isak joins Liverpool? Is the league over? Is it done? Like, can we even blame Arteta?
And also, you know what? What do you think about Eze? I can't say anything because a Crystal Palace player. He's a Crystal Palace player. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to upset them. Come on, man. I'm going to say I want him. So, look, and it's not all Newcastle fans. It's harsh for me to say all these Newcastle because it's not all of them, right? Because people can say it's all the Arsenal fans that cry, and it's not. But when you look at it, there is a section of the fan base that are very sensitive about this. And I appreciate they don't want their player to go. That's not a crazy statement. Of course they want him to stay. He's one of the best strikers in the league, right? So I get it. There's just, for me, something in the back of my mind, bruv, that I believe you ain't done on this. Like, I would not rule this out, you coming in for a bid here. And I
First
don't,
of all, I'm
you know,
glad you said that Liverpool did the chess move. That's because you're like finally a rival fan is saying this, because you know how the chat is, and you know like how certain people try to rile you up, like they think Newcastle won this saga. Literally, we're either gonna take your player or we're gonna take your primary target. So Liverpool have won on both cases, because
agreed.
your primary target was our plan B and a literal target for us for a real long time. Me and Dan Potts did streams together from long time ago when we were talking about the striker position. I brought up Ekitike. I brought up Ekitike on Kopish. I brought up Ekitike with Tom Little. It's a player that I really like. So it's a player
Yep.
that I absolutely wanted at Liverpool Football Club. And in terms of the only thing I disagree with Dan on is like, low key, if we do sign Ekitike, I don't see us signing Isak now. I'm gonna be honest with you, because look, we know Diaz is gonna leave. So Diaz is headed to Bayern Munich. Once again, chat, see, this is an example, educational moment. It's reported by the reporters. He's not a Bayern Munich player yet, but we're talking about it. So Diaz apparently agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich on a 5-year contract, 4-year contract, whatever. So Diaz is going to be gone. So I look at that left wing scenario. If we do sign Isak and Ekitike, I don't see us signing Rodrigo then. That's where I would put the Rodrigo thing in the bag. Then maybe the left wing option might be like a backup level, like a Malik Fofana or something like that. But would I care? Absolutely not. You bring me Isak and Ekitike, brother. This is just a madness. Like, this is actually insanity. And if Liverpool sign Isak and Ekitike in the same summer, it's not even a chess move anymore. This is like domino. This is like domino. Yeah. Just slap it on the table. You know, like
let's have it right. It's bad news. It's bad news for rivals anyway. And I say rivals, I mean teams that are looking to go into a title race